day had such promise. The forecast predicted 77 degrees, mostly sunny, and a nice breeze coming in off the lake. The preparations had all been made. Food was purchased, drinks were mixed and kept on ice. Games were lined up. It was to be a glorious weekend. Then people started to go missing. Heads were severed, bodies were eaten, faces were melted, and a relaxing day at the lake house quickly turned into a nightmare. It had only been 1 hour since Murphy first called 911, and the remaining 4 were now at their wits' end. Bunny's nerves were completely shot. Her fur was matted and clumped as she sweat from every pore on her body. Rainbow was an inconsolable mess after just witnessing the death of her boyfriend, MCP. Her makeup had streaked down her face to the point where she resembled the sad clown at the circus. Kitten could not stop cleaning herself. Her glasses, cracked in 3 places, and her once silver fur, now a yellowed and dingy carpet. Murphy, the oldest of them all, was hiding next to the window, rambling incoherently to himself, looking out of the window, periodically to see where the beast, or where creepy reading, would strike. They had made it to their goal, the brig, but at what price? Their 11 close friends were gone, forever, simply because a madman wasn't invited to a party that hadn't been planned yet. The insanity of the entire event is what hit Murphy the hardest. He, usually able to volley back in any sort of foolishness, was now a trembling shell of his former self.
What the fuck are we gonna do now?
We did get to the brig.
Murphy, what were we supposed to get here?
Murphy, what do we do next? Murphy!
Kitten then tossed a moldy fishing glove at Murphy. That finally broke Murphy out of his trance, and he turned to look at the 3 girls. There was a look in his eye that severely frightened Bunny and Kitten. A look they had never in their entire lives seen before. A look they didn't think Murphy was capable of. Murphy was completely terrified.
I don't know what to do. I've been trying to think about what to do next, and what's to do next, and I can't see how to get us out of this.
Murphy slumped down against the wall and lowered his head. The jester removed his cap and wiped his brow. His graying purple hair truly revealed his age.
What the fuck did we come here for? Are you just gonna give up? Now is not the time for you to sober up on us. We need a plan.
Kitten's energy seemed to breathe life back into Murphy. Murphy took a deep breath, and with a small jingle of the bells, placed his cap back on his head.
You're right. Okay, well, we did come here for flares, dynamite, and other fun things. Let's take inventory here.
Bunny, Kitten, and Murphy searched as quietly as possible for as many tools as they could possibly find in the tiny building at the water's edge. Rainbow continued to rock back and forth, holding herself tightly. After several minutes, the 3 were able to collect 5 sticks of dynamite, 2 flares, and a half can of gasoline.
This is all fine and dandy, but we have no source of fire. How are we gonna light this shit?
Murphy is a smoker.
Okay. We've seen TCR in action. We know what he is fully capable of, so we really shouldn't plan on anything concrete, because he might figure it out. What we need is a plan so stupid that he'll overanalyze it.
That's great. but we're gonna need Rainbow's help.
Rainbow, we're going to need your help.
Hun, you're gonna have to snap out of it.
Hey, MCP needs to be avenged, honey.
I loved him so much!
I know, sweetie, but right now, we have a monster to kill, okay?
You smell funny.
Glad to have you back. Now, here's what we need to do.
Outside in the yard, Creepy Reading grew more and more furious. And with each degree of anger, another portion of the property that belonged to Murphy's mother and father ended up in the lake. First it was the bird feeder, then the Weber grill, then the porch sweeper, then the porch. Creepy Reading was running out of objects.
You can't hide forever. There aren't many more hiding places left.
He stopped for a minute and smelled the air. Maybe he would be able to catch a whiff of where they might be. Puzzled, he sniffed the air once more.
Road flare?
He turned around just in time to catch the bright red flame of the flare with his face. He howled in pain and quickly transformed back into the beast that had been terrorizing the party from the beginning. The hot sulfur flame scalded his eyes and left him blind. He spun around violently, aimlessly swinging his claws, connecting with no one. Creepy Reading was finally able to ease the pain, but his vision was permanently lost. He calmly stood back up and turned to see where the flare had come from.
Did you think? You think I could stop me? It'll take a lot more than that, honey. A lot more than a flare to stop me.
He smelled the air once more and listened closely to his surroundings. Since his sight was gone, he relied on his other senses to locate the others. He suddenly heard the quick steps of 3 people running from left to right and onto wooden planks, and then further out into the lake. He quickly leaped towards the noise and cornered them on the pier.
I have you now! Any last words before I devour you?
Just one.
The creature spun around to meet the voice, only to be doused in liquid. The liquid was pungent and smelt of stale gasoline.
Gotcha.
Murphy lit another road flare and tossed it at the beast. His aim was true, and the flare connected. And as the flare collided with the skin of the beast, now saturated in gasoline, it ignited into a pillar of flame. The beast roared and howled in pain, then began to slowly chase after Murphy, who was way up on the far upper side of the shoreline hill. The beast spun around but couldn't sense any of the others that had led him to the dock. The fact of the matter was, no one was on the dock. The pier was empty. Kitten simply tied everyone's shoes to her tail and scurried across the pier and over into the neighboring woods. Bunny and Rainbow were still in the brig. The door to the brig opened, and both Bunny and Rainbow peeked out to watch as the beast burned to death. In a last effort to survive, the beast scurried towards the lake and dove in, extinguishing the flames. Murphy and Kitten trotted down the shoreline hill and watched as the bubbles of air slowly popped and the ripples calmed. They both collapsed on the ground, barefoot and exhausted.
God damn it!
Oh, I need a drink.
I think we all need a drink.
As they all stood up and headed back towards the house, the water behind them began to churn again.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
The monster, the greenish-brown hellion, now burnt, bloody, and disintegrating, burst forth from the water and lashed out at the group, snagging Murphy by the ankle.
Ah, fuck!
Murphy was being hoisted up in the air, high above everyone else. The beast opened its gaping maw and dangled Murphy high above it.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
At the last second, Murphy took out a stick of dynamite and lit it with a cigar as the monster dropped Murphy into his mouth and swallowed him whole. Kitten, Bunny, and Rainbow screamed in agony as they witnessed the loss of another friend and began to run back up the hill to safety. Just then, a soft boom came from behind the girls. They turned around to see the beast, who was attempting to pursue them, lurch forward and stagger. Suddenly, another soft explosion was heard, and a portion of the beast bubbled into a bright orange. Then another, and another. The beast, looking as if it were about to vomit, exploded all over the hillside and the girls. A viscous yellow goo covered everything for a 50-yard radius. Nerve-ending bits of the monster still twitched their last as a large gelatinous mass stood up from the middle of the remnants of the explosion. The girls wiped the monster guts and ooze from their gaze and readied themselves for another fight. The blob grew taller until parts of it began to fall off and reveal an arm, a leg with a black bare foot, and finally, a very bruised and battered Murphy. His left arm hung limp and he hobbled up the rest of the way.
How the hell did you...
Ugh. I'm made of ink, remember? It's really hard to blow up a liquid.
The others sat down next to him as they watched the lake return to its calm mirror state, when the red-blue flashing of the police cars finally arrived at the house.
About goddamn time.
You know what I just realized, Bunny?
What's that?
Creeps McPasta is never going to believe this.
You have one new message. Message 1.
Yeah, hey, perfect. This is Dad. We just got back and want to know what the hell happened to our house.
Murphy, Shannon, you call us back immediately and explain why there is a giant hole in our bedroom wall. And why the lawn is covered in what the hell is that stuff, dear?
I have no damn idea. But you're in some serious trouble, mister.
End of messages.